little puppets, it's me, Esther, the project manager for Confessions of a Refashionista. Now, I apologize for not being seen very often, but I have been very, very busy managing projects for Refashionista Sherry. Now, please do let us know down below if you would like to see more of her staff of characters. There's so many of us, and we all love to appear on camera. So let's do something a little bit different. If you would like to see more, why don't you put a smiley emoji in the comments. And if you do not want to see any more of us, you can put a sad emoji in the comments, right? So do something fun for the youngsters there. Okay, so today, Sherry is going to show you so many wonderful ways you can upcycle and refashion your t-shirts. And of course, there's going to be no sew tutorials, as well as very, very easy sewing tutorials. And you want to stick around to the end because she's going to be transforming this lovely vintage t-shirt with this fabulous vintage Hawaiian shirts, and she's going to somehow put them together to make them into something totally new and exciting to wear for the summer. So stick around for that, or if you don't want to stick around, use the timestamps down below and just pop over there right now. She spends a lot of time making sure that her subtitles and captions are correct and her timestamps are usable and valid. So go ahead and use them if you want to. But right, let's get making.
And as always, we're starting off in 2013 with this oldie but goodie tutorial for making a t-shirt into a skirt. And I am, as always, redoing the voiceovers because back in 2013 when I first started my channel, the sound quality was pretty cringy. So for this, you need an oversized t-shirt, your sewing machine, and something to use as a waistband. Your first step is to simply stretch out the neckline of the t-shirt so you can pull it up over your hips. Next, you want to flip the shirt inside out and stitch around the sleeves in a curve. These are going to become your pockets. Next, you want to grab the bottom of a t-shirt to use as a waistband and flip it over top of the neckline with the right sides facing, and then simply go and stitch them together. For this one, I actually stitched the outside as well for extra strength, and I used a contrasting thread, and it gave it a little bit more detail. And as you can see, here I am standing on a stool, so you can actually see the skirt, but it's adorable. Also in 2013, I shared how to create 4 fab items from one t-shirt. So you need to grab a t-shirt that fits you loosely over your hips and your scissors. T-shirts without side seams do work best for creating these items. And the first thing you want to do is chop that t-shirt under the underarm seam so you're left with 2 pieces. Grab the bottom piece and chop off a strip from the already chopped edge, then cut one side of that strip so you have a long strip. Stretch it out, and you've just created some awesome t-shirt yarn. Next, you want to grab the bottom of the shirt again, find the middle of the hem, and chop out 2 small holes a couple of centimeters apart from each other, just in the front fabric. Don't go all the way through. Then pop your stretched out t-shirt yarn on a safety pin and feed it all the way through one hole, out the other hole, not the ends. And you know what? You've just made an amazingly comfortable drawstring skirt. Next, snag the chopped top and cut off the sleeves. Now you want to cut these so the sleeve seams are totally off the square that is left here. And as you can see, like I said, you have a square with a hole in the middle. Then all you have to do is chop out a bunch of strips going all the way up to the seams as close as possible, but not chopping through the seams. And then stretch out each of the strips, pop a knot in the bottom, and you have a very funky no-sew neck piece. Next, grab those chopped sleeves and stitch up the open end that you cut, and then repeat the process of making your drawstring waistband, but this time on the top of those sleeve hems, and you've just made adorable little gift bags or pouches. This is so simple. You can make everything in about 20 minutes. And now we're in 2014, and I still have that awesome crocheted beanie beret, and I wear it all the time. Anyway, so for this one, you need a t-shirt or a long sleeve tee, a couple of zippers, and of course your sewing gear. You need to use a t-shirt or long sleeve tee because jersey fabric doesn't fray, so it makes this project really easy. So first you want to fold your shirt in half as evenly as you can get it with the collar side seams lined up, and then you want to put your zipper right at the top, matching up the collar side seam. It's very easy to do it this way, and then just pin it in place. I mean, you seriously don't get any easier than this tutorial. Once you have both sides pinned on, then of course all you have to do is go ahead and pop over to your sewing machine, and you're going to stitch the zippers on using a tight wide zigzag, and this allows that fabric to have the bit of stretch needed. Then you want to simply chop out the fabric behind the zipper. As I said, this is why you use the cotton jersey fabric, so you don't have to hem anything. It doesn't fray. You don't have to worry about it, and your shirt is done, and you can wear it with your shoulders exposed. But if you get a little bit chilly, you can also zip up those zippers. So this is like a 2-for-1 look. In 2014, I had an awful lot of t-shirt yarn for some reason, so I decided to use it to embellish a plain t-shirt. So for this, you just need your plain t-shirt, t-shirt yarn, and a piece of chalk or something to write on the t-shirt with. This is so fast, and you know what? I still have this t-shirt because it came out so well and it's lasted so long. So the first thing you want to do is simply sketch out your design on your t-shirt. And of course, I sketched out the word sew because why the heck not, right? Next, you want to grab your t-shirt yarn and simply place it on the end or edge or starting point of your design, and then head on over to your machine, and you want to open up your t-shirt yarn because of course it's just stretched out piece of t-shirt that's curled back onto itself. And following your design, you're going to stitch it on going straight down the center. And this is a bit picky because you do have to keep the sides from rolling back onto itself. So go nice and slow. But you know what? Look, it came out so great. And as I said, I still have this and I still rock it. For this quick no-sew, we're going back to 2014. And if you listen carefully, you can hear my little assistant.
Look.
To create this awesome laced-up tee, all you need is a t-shirt, a pair of scissors, a paper hole punch, and a couple of lengths of t-shirt yarn. I think I actually used the sleeves that I had chopped off to make this t-shirt yarn, but whatever. Anyway, so first you want to lay your t-shirt out as flat as possible, and then using your hole punch, simply punch holes all the way down each side of the t-shirt. Now this is where you can use your side seams as kind of a guide, and make sure you are punching your holes about 1/2 centimeter to 1 centimeter away from that side seam. Then once you have all of your holes punched through, simply go ahead and carefully remove that side seam. It is so super simple. We're almost done now. Then all you have to do is grab that t-shirt yarn and lace up the sides of your t-shirt. And of course, you have a t-shirt that is now going to fit you oh so much better. And if you listen carefully, once again, you can hear my absolutely adorable little assistant helping me with this outro. And until next time, I'll catch ya on the zigzag. Okay, let's move on to this fab t-shirt that has seen better days. I mean, let's be honest. So the collar, I don't know what happened to this collar, but it literally looks like there was maybe chunks, bites taken out of it. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so I guess the first thing I'm going to do with this is simply fold that in and stitch it down just to kind of conceal those chompy bite marks. So now it is nice and lovely, and because I just folded the collar basically in on itself, it still has that nice structure to it and isn't kind of flipping and flopping all over the place, but those missing pieces from the collar are definitely concealed now. So let's transform it with some shoulder pads. Now, of course, you can buy brand new shoulder pads from craft stores, or you can even, make them yourself out of scraps. But why would you do either of those things when you can simply source your own from those lovely retro and 80s garments from the thrift shop or even your very own stash? Now, I love 80s shoulder pads because they are huge. Like, that's bigger than my hand. So before we get to this easy t-shirt update and refashion, let me share with you 2 simple ways to remove shoulder pads from those retro garments in your stash or at the thrift store. This is so super easy. All you got to do is locate where they're stitched on and chop it. That's it. Then you're done. Just grab your seam ripper and figure out on the inside where the shoulder pads are and carefully open up those shoulder seams. And you should then be able to pop the shoulder pad out of the small hole you have made. That's huge! Then all you have to do is use your seam ripper again and carefully detach the shoulder pad from the interior lining of the blazer. Now that those massive shoulder pads are removed, I'm going to go ahead and grab my trusty needle and thread and hand stitch those little shoulder openings closed. Alrighty, now that you have your shoulder pads, it's time to decide which ones you want to use. I want mine to be quite big, so I think we're going to use these massive 80s specials here. All right, let's get this into this. So first thing you want to do, of course, is to fold your shoulder pad evenly in half. Now, I want to have my kind of bulkier side of the shoulder pad facing outward, so towards my shoulder, and the, thinner area there headed towards my neck. Just, purely comfort's sake. You can do the opposite if you'd like. Okay, then I'm going to pop it in, and luckily you have these wonderful shoulder seams here, so you can line it up pretty darn perfectly because you've folded it in half. Now, for myself, I want to have a little bit of overhang here, so I want my shoulder pad to be a centimeter, 2 centimeters-ish past that shoulder seam here. I'm just going to tuck that in there. And then also that's going to stop, the shoulder pad from kind of being annoying at my neck. So I think actually that seems to be pretty good. And before I do anything else, I'm going to really quickly pin that because I have made the mistake in the past of not pinning things and then it all kind of falls apart and I have to start all over again. So, okay. Awesome sauceum. Now, you can see I have kind of just tucked all that in there, and I don't even know yet if I have to be doing any trimming. Once I get this stitched on, then I'll be able to see better if I need to actually trim any of this. But as it is, I'm really liking that you can't even see the shoulder pad in there because it's totally covered with the sleeve fabric. So yeah, let me grab my hand stitching gear and let's stitch this together. Okay, I have everything prepared and ready and nicely pinned and pinched and everything together here. So what I'm going to do is work my way from the kind of neckline area out to that end of the shoulder. And grab my needle. And then first I'm just going to start my stitch here. Loop through that knotted end to secure, and then just really carefully try to follow that existing seam here with my stitches, going all the way through the t-shirt fabric as well as the shoulder pad, obviously. I mean, I guess you could actually stitch this on the machine, but it would really make it an obvious stitch line here, whereas I'm just really kind of gently securing this. I mean, it will definitely last through washings and wearings and everything, but again, most shoulder pads are not secured with the machine stitches for a reason. And speaking of stitches, if you are curious about hand stitching and would like to kind of improve your skills, I guess, or even get started with basic stitches and mending, have I got an ebook for you? Of course, it is my Sewing Basics and has pretty much everything in there. I mean, I even have a few embroidery stitches that I have learned over the years, so I've shared the how-tos for those as well. And of course, I mean, just the general basics to get you started, plus a few rather awesome tutorials that once you have mastered the very basic stitches, you can then go start refashioning your wardrobe. So I'll put the link for that below. Like you can see here, I'm literally almost already at the end, and that looks pretty invisible to me. I'm actually pretty pleased with myself. I mean, again, as with most of my tutorials, this one, again, I've never made a t-shirt like this before, but I've seen them lots of different places and just thought, hey, you know, I bet you I could do that. And here I am doing it. And that is the beauty of refashioning and upcycling. You see something you like, you know, go make it yourself. So as you can see, I did end up having to trim off the kind of excess fabric there. Now, before I did that, I went ahead and just hand stitched the corners down to the interior of the sleeve here, just so I knew exactly where to trim it off. And then just again, because I'm me, I did a quick stitch around the remaining fabric here just to make sure everything stays in place. And right side out, it looks absolutely fantastic. I also did crop it because it was just, you know, that kind of weird, awkward length that it doesn't tuck in nicely and it doesn't stay out nicely. So, hey, why not crop it? Grab that old long sleeve tee that you never wear, plus your trusty scissors, and transform it in a flash. And find out how to upcycle the leftover scraps too. So first, all you have to do is simply fold that long sleeve tee in half, making sure that the shoulder seams, the arm seams, and the sleeves are evenly lined up. And then all you have to do is chop your sleeves to your desired length. Now, the best thing about cotton t-shirt jersey fabric is that it doesn't fray. So if you don't want to hem up those raw cut edges, you don't have to. I really like the look of kind of a half cut out collar. So that's what I'm going to do to this shirt. But now is absolutely the time where you can really let your imagination go and do whatever kind of slashes and cuts that you want to really make your shirt uniquely you. So now I have my shirt inside out, and I'm going to start my cut just a little bit past the shoulder seam and cut as close as I can to this finished collar seam here and work my way around to about the center of the shirt. So that came out pretty awesome, but I think I want it to be even more obvious, this cut here, and this is a little bit loose, so I'm going to remove the excess from this collar bit here, and then simply stitch up the raw edges so the collar will be tighter and this chopped bit will hang down a little bit lower. So now that I have the collar done and the sleeves are chopped, I think I'm also going to go ahead and cut off this finished bottom hem just so the whole shirt has a really cool kind of deconstructed look to it. So now this is what we have left over from that project. And did you know that chopped long sleeves make absolutely fantastic leg warmers? You literally have to do nothing to them except maybe straighten up the tops. And yeah, you have some very funky looking leg warmers. The chopped bottom of that t-shirt can easily be looped and wrapped around your wrist for a quite funky, chunky, layered bracelet look. And you can even add buttons to it. I mean, beads, whatever you want. And it looks pretty darn cool. And of course, it coordinates perfectly with your groovy deconstructed t-shirt. You can also, of course, simply loop it twice and wear it as a headband. Or if you chop out one of the side seams, you can even carefully feed a bunch of elastic through it, tie off the ends, and you've made yourself a fantastic fluffy puffy scrunchie. For this super fast but super funky project, all you need is a awesome vintage round tablecloth. And I've had this one for years. And I mean, I just love this so much with the fringe on it. And the pattern is so super 70s cool. Plus, you need a t-shirt that is a little bit too small for you. And your sewing gear, of course. You can't forget your sewing gear. So first, you just want to make sure that your tablecloth wraps comfortably around your body, because if it doesn't, then, you know, the skirt's not going to work very well. Next, grab that t-shirt that is a little bit too small for you and check that the bottom part of the t-shirt can rather comfortably, maybe with a little bit of stretching, go from one side of your body around to the other side of your body, because we are going to use this comfy bottom half of the shirt to create a very, very lovely, comfortable yoga style waistband. So let's get making. So now we need to create our hole in the center of the tablecloth so we can put our waistband on, and then the skirt's going to be done. It's that simple. Now I love these type of circular tablecloths that have the nice circular pattern in the center, because it really helps as a template and a guide, because you know this is the center of the tablecloth. So going to fold this as evenly in half as I can. Okay, and then just kind of hold it up and see, can I simply just cut out the center of this? Maybe not. So let's go do it, you know, properly, I guess. So when I say properly, I don't really mean measuring and everything, because I really follow the eyeball method. I don't measure things usually, so let me know down below if you do that as well, if you prefer to just kind of guesstimate and eyeball things, or do you do things really properly with nice tailor's measures and rulers and math? Let me know down below. Okay, so my eyeball method is to simply fold the skirt in half, or skirt, so it's not a skirt yet, fold the tablecloth in half twice. So we have here once, and then I'm folding it in half one more time. So I have made a lovely kind of rounded triangle shape. And then I'm just gonna cut off the tip here of the triangle and pretty much just guesstimate how much I have to cut off. And then I'm gonna go slip it on over my hips and see if it's gonna fit. La la! Oh, hey, look at this. Poncho. I mean, come on. How easy would that be? To just, you know, hole in a round tablecloth, you got a poncho. Ah, anyway, this isn't a poncho, it's a skirt. Okay, so this I can already tell is probably not going to be wide enough, but I think it's always better to cut less than I think I need, and then if I need more, I will go back and cut more. And there we go. I definitely need to cut some more. Okay, so I have my t-shirt, I have my scissors, and because I like to kind of fold in half, double up my t-shirt waistbands, I'm going to be cutting my shirt right under the underarm seams here. So now I have a kind of just t-shirt fabric tube here, and I'm going to take the raw edge and pull it to the inside. So I'm just really folding it to the inside on both sides. The easiest way to do it is to line up the side seams as best as you can. You know, some t-shirts aren't made super straight, and this is one of them. If you look there, that doesn't look very nice. So let's see what we can do to straighten that out a little bit. All right, there we go. You can see here, yeah, that's not very straight at all. So I'm going to trim this off, this excess fabric here. So now I'm just going to go stitch all of this around just to secure these kind of open edges together. Ooh, and my comfy yoga style waistband is now complete and ready to be popped over top of the skirt bottom. Alrighty, so we're going to flip it inside out, and just like with, you know, pretty much everything, we're gonna pop the two items together with the right sides facing and the raw edges here, the bottom edges lined up. Shake it down, and now all I have to do is go stitch all the way around, and my skirt is seriously going to be done. So let's do it. Et voila, my beautiful yoga waistband circle skirt is complete. So I'm gonna go steam this quickly, and then let's style it up. This is another one that came out so much better than I thought it would. I mean, the fact that I can wear it as a skirt and as an adorable poncho. I'd like styling it as a skirt though. I think it would maybe be best in like a westerny kind of theme. I don't know. Let me know. What do you think of how I styled it with my vintage top and hat? And I don't know. You let me know. How would you style this as a skirt? I mean, the fringes are just kind of screaming cowgirl to me. I thrifted this one online and totally thought, yay, it's gonna fit. No, it doesn't. And again, it's thrifted. It's not worth it to send it back at all. Speaking of thrifting online, if you don't already, I highly recommend it and shall link to my closet that you can shop down below. But I mean, I was, looking for a fitted black t-shirt, and this is definitely not it. So today we're going to transform this in just literally a couple of snips, no sewing at all, and we're going to make it awesome so I can actually wear it. Let's get started. For this super duper quick project, all you need is your slightly or more than slightly oversized shirt plus your scissors. So the very first thing you need to do is figure out how long you would like the back of your soon-to-be wrap top to be. And for myself, I find it easiest to put on a pair of pants or jeans or trousers that has already the ideal kind of height of waistband that I would like the length of my shirt to be. If that makes sense. Okay, so I put the shirt on with my ideal height of pants, and then just kind of put my finger right at the waistband and mark it with a piece of chalk. If you don't have chalk, just stick a pin in there. So as you can see here, my mark is not perfect at all, which is totally fine because we're just using it as a very basic guideline. Okay, so what you want to do now is cut only the back part of your shirt. You are leaving the front part as it is, and you're going to cut up the back to your line, straight across, and then back down again. So you can see here I have just the back of my shirt cut to that length that I want it to be, and I've tried it on and it is totally fine. I highly recommend at this point to go try your shirt on, and if you need to cut a little bit more, by all means go ahead. Now I have flipped my shirt over and I'm just going to chop straight down from the center of the neckline all the way down the front through the bottom hem. So of course, because I am me, I did manage to chop the back of mine a little bit too short. So instead of my normal rise jeans, I have on my super duper high rise jeans, which I love these high-waisted jeans so much. Anyway, so what you have now is a shirt that looks like this, that has these two generous side ties, and the bigger and stretchier your shirt is, of course, the longer you can stretch the ties. So you can simply knot it in the front and you're good to go. Or do the wrap shirt and wrap one side over the other side, stretch it as much as you need to, and tie it in the back. One more time. Yes, I can do it. Okay, and then just kind of arrange the front as you would like it, and there you go. Gorgeous. This is just so awesome now. I absolutely love that I can wear it different ways. I can throw it over a dress if I want to, just knot it in the front. Fantastic. And yeah, like, I'm also pleased that I can actually wear it with these fabulously high-waisted jeans. These jeans have such a high waist, it is insane, and they are so comfortable and so cool, and so absolutely totally vintage 80s, which is awesome. These are like the ultimate in high-waisted mom jeans, which is fine because I'm a mom, right? So I was just sorting through my Refashionista material stash and I discovered this amazing 1980s skirt. Now, I know I got this because I thought I was going to cut it up, but I don't think I'm going to anymore. It is fantastic just as it is. I also found this vintage t-shirt, which clearly has seen better days here. Now, I want to wear these together today. So I'm going to go sort this t-shirt out in like less than a minute. So there are a few different ways that I could mend these holes. One would be to simply grab some iron-on patches and cover them up. Another, of course, would be to do some nice embroidery and cover up the holes. Another would be to fold the t-shirt under, covering up the holes, and then give it a new clean hem. But I don't want to do any of those things. I want to do the fastest solution, which is to simply chop off the bottom of the t-shirt that includes the holes. So cotton jersey t-shirt fabric has a magnificent feature, and it does not fray when you cut it. So all you have to do is kind of gently pull on your chopped edge, and it actually, you see that, rolls up onto itself, giving you a lovely clean edge. And the more you stretch it, the more it is going to roll back onto itself. I seriously love this outfit now. It is just fantastic, especially styled up with an 80s belt and 80s purse. I mean, come on, it's just awesome and super quick and super simple. For this fast and fancy project, all you need is your t-shirt. Now, for me, this is actually a necessity. It's going to be an upsizing project for me, but you can use any t-shirt that you want. I thrifted this a few months ago, and no matter how many times I wash it and then gently stretch and lay it flat to dry, this part is not stretching enough for my chesticle area, so let's upsize it. And you also need your funky button-down shirt, and this should be loose fitting. Again, it's not super important, but it just makes the whole shirt more comfortable when it's all done. And as you can see, I'm sticking with the Hawaiian theme here. So your first step is to lay your t-shirt out as flat as you can get it. This one seems to be stitched a bit awkwardly, so I'm having a hard time getting it super flat, but it doesn't matter, actually. Perfection is the enemy of good enough, as I always say. So you just want to chop off the sides and the sleeves of the t-shirt from the collar all the way down through to the bottom hem. Then you can take that chopped side and lay it on top of the non-chopped side to use as the general template, and then chop off the other side. Here's a quick Refashionista tip for you. If you want, you can chop off the sleeves and save them, which is what I'm going to do because these are cool ringer sleeves. Then this remaining side part of the t-shirt, cut it into strips, stretch them out, and you've just created some amazing t-shirt yarn, which of course you can use to add embellishments to t-shirts like we did before, or you can also make some awesome accessories out of this, and I'll link that tutorial down below for you. If you're not sure if your t-shirt is cut fairly evenly, all you have to do is grab it and line up the collar like so. Then line up the seams, and you can see mine's pretty much, it's like a millimeter off, and you know what, I can live with that. Next, lay your button-down shirt flat as you can get it and do the exact same thing. But this time, instead of cutting off the sides, we're going to cut off the button placket and the collar. So you want to chop as close as you can to the button placket, and this will give you whatever size width of shirt that you want to have, the final product to have. I also like to keep as much of the pocket as possible, and then it's still usable on your new to you shirt. Because this was a rayon and quite fraying fabric, I did go ahead and hem up the chopped raw edges, but now we can put everything together. So now you can finally see how it's all going to come together, and we're using the t-shirt for the center part and then the two chopped sides of the button down for the sides of our fancy new upsized shirt. So I'm going to set this to the side for now, and we're going to stitch these two together. And I have both pieces with the right sides facing up because all I have to do is flip the t-shirt center over top of the side of the button down like so, and then look at this, I have my right sides facing the right way, and I can line up the shoulder seams so it's going to be, you know, as even as possible, and just pop a pin in there to hold it, and now I can simply go stitch all the sides together in one lovely straight line. It's all stitched together, so let's flip it out for the moment of truth here. That looks absolutely perfect. Oh, I'm so pleased with that. How cool is that going to look when it's finally done? So let's go now and stitch on the other side. And then I think I'm going to crop it because you can see here the t-shirt was shorter than this, and I like my shirts shorter anyway. And then we're gonna try it on and style it up.
How totally easy and relatively painless was it to take this vintage t-shirt from too tight to just right. So simple, and I love the trim here. I can't believe I had this in my stash for so long and finally found the perfect combination for it. All the colors are the same. It's just fabulous. I also want to say a massively huge welcome to my wonderful world of refashioning to all of my new viewers and fellow refashionistas who are kind enough to subscribe to my channel, throw me those likes, shares, and of course your wonderful comments are really what helps me get through the week and all the work that I have to get done, because believe it or not, my behind the scenes, it's not very pleasant. So that's why I put so much fun and energy into my videos, because this is where I want to live. It's right here in my videos with you. And on that note, please do join my channel. It is only $1.99 and you get access to fabulous Refashionista merchandise made by my own hands just for you, as well as watch parties live with me. Like, we literally hang out and watch things together, which is so much fun. And what else is there? There's so many things in my membership. Click the join and then you'll see what's in the membership. But the watch parties are like the thing that is the best part. And we're actually going to be having one sometime within the next couple of weeks. I am busy this coming up weekend, but next weekend for sure we are going to be doing a watch party, and I'm not sure what we're gonna watch. We're gonna do a poll on the membership tab and figure out what exactly we're gonna watch together and chat and hang out, and it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. So join there. Plus, if you want to get your skills up to my level, I guess, which again isn't absolutely fabulous, right? I'm self-taught, but I'm also teaching you, and one of the ways I can do that is through my eCourses and eBooks, and those are pay what you want. You can pay $1 if you want to. I just want everybody to be able to upcycle and refashion and reuse what you already have. Stop buying new. You can even stop going to the thrift store, look in your own closet, find those things that you're just not feeling anymore and transform them with me. It is so easy. Come on, you see how easy it is. Plus, this whole video was full of awesome t-shirts that stand the test of time, because some of them I made over a decade ago and I still wear them and they're still awesome. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch ya on the zigzag. Please let me know if you're going to make any of the shirts, but especially this one, because this is a new one. I'm wearing this today. I'm going to go out and strip my stuff, walking my dog.
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.